Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Battle of the Goats. We are moving on to some more anime from the looks of it. Next up, we got The Promised Neverland, and oh my god. Oh my god, how I would love to put The Promised Neverland in a true GOAT category, but man, oh man, the second season happened, and oh boy. So basically, the thing of Promised Neverland is that I like to consider the show like the Game of Thrones for anime because although the story and everything about it is nothing like Game of Thrones, I mean that in terms of it's a downfall because it's 2 seasons long. I'm pretty sure the second season like ended the show, right? Because to be honest, I actually didn't watch the second season, but I've seen enough clips to know that it's not good. So basically, the first season was amazing, absolutely amazing. I loved it. I even showed it to my parents. It was that good, and they also really got hooked, really into it. First season is incredible. I absolutely loved it. Um, Basically, because here's the thing, I still recommend this show for people to watch, but I would say just stick with the first season and pretend like the second season doesn't even exist. Because even though the first season ends on some loose ends, I think it's still worth the watch. Even if, basically, if you want to watch the second season, watch it at your own risk. I know a lot about what happens in the second season. See, I read the manga after I finished the first season, and the manga was pretty good. It kind of fizzled out near the end, but overall it was pretty good. Um, the second arc in the manga after the first arc, it was almost as good as the first arc. But the show, they went in a completely different direction for the second season, and they just killed it. Just killed it. And yeah, again I saw clips, I saw many reviews, and yeah, they said that it's like night and day, like the total downfall for The Promised Neverland for season two. So first season was true goated, absolutely no question, but I can't ignore the fact that the second season exists, unfortunately. So I hate to do this to you, but I'm gonna put it in it could have been great category, much like Game of Thrones. I don't want to do that, but it is what it is. Highly recommend the first season though. Still to this day, absolutely. Next up, we've got Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, my cousin might not like me for this, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this in overrated, but still good. I actually really want to read the manga to this show because I heard everybody, like a lot of fans, say that the manga is a lot better than the TV show. I still think the TV show is good. Granted, I haven't watched the anything past Route A, which Route A is the second season for people who aren't familiar with this series. Um, I haven't watched anything past that, but the first season and Route A are like they're pretty good, especially the first season finale. I love the first season finale. Excellent. I really liked that. I'm not sure if it gets any better or worse after the second season, but I might get back into it at some point. I noticed the main. I won't say much more, but yeah, it's a good show. I still like it. I just think it was a little overhyped, a little bit. Sorry to my cousin. And looks like the apologies are gonna have to keep going for to my cousin because he's a big fan of this show, Sword Art Online. Yeah, I'm sorry again, but I'm gonna have to put it in. Could have been great. So yeah, I think this show Personally, I think it had a lot of potential. I do. And for what it's worth, I did enjoy it for a while. Um, it was just that it went in some directions that I wasn't crazy about. Because, I can't really get specific, but um, I remember the last thing I watched felt very underwhelming, and that's kind of what made me like drop the show because it was just very underwhelming, and I was kind of just like, what was the point of that? Um, yeah, the villains in the show were also very just. The first one was very underwhelming, and then the two after that were just like ridiculous, uh, like ridiculous in a very like weird way. Uh, yeah, the romance in the show I feel like kind of bogged down like the first and second season in particular, in my personal opinion. Because because yeah, here's the thing. I wouldn't even say that this show is overrated because like. Honestly, this show I think is a little overhated, actually, because people hate this show. People really hate this show. I don't hate it. I think it could have been a lot better, but I mean, yeah, I really don't hate this show. But okay, so about Sword Art Online, there's a funny story with me and my cousin that I've been referring to. A while ago, he showed me his like top 10 anime at the time. And yeah, I saw the list. Personally, I have a very different list in mind for what I would consider my top 10 anime. But I saw his list and I was cool with it. I respected it because I mean, obviously everybody has their own opinion. So I mean, you gotta respect people's opinions no matter what. But I will say I was pretty flabbergasted when I saw that he put Sword Art Online over Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I was like, huh? Huh? I was like, yo, I mean, because see, the way I see it, the only advantage Sword Art Online could possibly have over Brotherhood is just preferring the setting more, and I think that's actually what his justification was. He just preferred the virtual reality video game setting over the 1940s steampunk aesthetic, which I mean it's totally cool. I'm kind of I'm just like messing with him at this point because I know he's gonna like just be like what like the whole time he's watching me, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's overhated though. I don't think it's really as bad of a show as people tend to make it out to be. So, anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about it before that man kills me. So, anyway, let's move on to Adventure Time. Now, I haven't really watched the show, but I probably will at some point. I mean, when I put shows in this category, I'm using the title very loosely because I have seen episodes from this, nothing from Chernobyl, Orange is the New Black, and I have seen quite a few episodes of Adventure Time, but the thing is, I just haven't watched enough of Adventure Time. Like any of these shows, I haven't really watched enough of them to actually have a really solid judgment on them, and Adventure Time is one of those shows. I think it's really funny. From what I saw, it was really funny. That's all I could really say about it right now. But I know the show has a big story element to it, but I haven't gotten to any of that yet. I don't know like anything about the world of the show or the backstories with the characters or anything like that. So I'll leave it at that with Adventure Time. I know it's one of the higher rated Cartoon Network shows. It's also really long too. So, I'll have to keep that in mind when I decide whether or not I actually want to watch it, to be real. But let's talk about a cartoon I have watched, like, by myself, I've actually watched it twice, because very recently I rewatched it, and this is BoJack Horseman. More like BoJack Goatman, because BoJack Horseman is a true goat! I love this show, man. This is such a good show. The worst part about this show is the first few episodes. I will say that, especially the first episode. The first episode is abysmal. I'll say that much. But when you get past those first few episodes, oh man, it's chef's kiss, y'all. Top marks, top marks. This show is just very, very good. I think the humor is really witty and clever. I love because a lot of people, what may put a lot of people off to the show too is the fact that it's, talking animals with like humans, that kind of world. It is very jarring, especially in the first episode. Oh my god, it's terrible in the first episode. But once you get past it, once you kind of accept just how the world of the show works, you will be rewarded with a very, very good show. The show tackles stuff like mental illness. Um, it just reflects the whole life of Hollywood, the Hollywood life, in a very relatable way, even though most of us, like, have no idea what celebrity life is like in the slightest. I imagine this show just encapsulates it, like, just very, very well. There are a few lines from this show that I took away, uh, like, that I found just very, like, powerful, because there are, like, episodes that the plots of which you don't really remember that well, but there are lines within them that, actually stick with you. One of my favorite lines from an episode like that is, once you give up everything, it's not until you give up everything that you'll find peace, you'll find true happiness. And that's a line you get from, like I said, one of the more forgettable episodes, but like, lines like that like just really stick with you. You know, obviously I can't provide context for where that line comes from, but it's just like, yeah, the show is just something else. It's really something else. At the time, I thought it was like definitely the best TV show like running at that time. The ending. After rewatching it, I actually really appreciated the ending more, because when I first watched the ending, I was kind of like, But I mean, after the rewatch, though, I actually really, really appreciated it much more. And this is a highly, highly recommended show. BoJack Horseman is a very, very good show. I love it. I love it. All right, now on to another adult cartoon. We've got Rick and Morty. This is a higher rated show than BoJack Horseman. Disagree. I disagree with that rating on IMDb. So here's the thing. I'm not really caught up with Rick and Morty. Um, I think it was a very good show for the few seasons I watched. So I will put it in. It's between overrated and it's goated for me. Um, it's goated. I'll just say it's goated, because the thing about this show is that it does explore some very, very unique concepts. Even though, like, I think it's really funny too, but I do think it's on it can be a bit on the juvenile side, a bit on the juvenile side of humor, a little too many times for my taste. But it's still a really funny show, and yeah, there are some concepts they'd explore that are really really interesting, and there are some scenes that will like blow your mind, like as early as first season episodes that will like just really really like trip you out. Like I can't give it away, but there's something that happens with Rick and Morty in a pretty early episode that's like, whoa, like did that actually just happen? But the reason why it doesn't reach true ghost status is because I feel like it's a bit lacking in the like overarching like story department. Like, I think BoJack is way stronger in that aspect than this show. And yeah, I think BoJack hits the emotional beats like much more. And the reason why I keep comparing the two is because I mean they were competing for a time until BoJack ended, and also BoJack totally got snubbed from an Emmy for this show because this show beat BoJack Horseman in like the Emmy nominations. I watched the episodes that got nominated from both of these shows, and I think BoJack totally deserved it. And it was such a shame too, because BoJack never actually got the Emmy that it deserved. Because the show, I guess, is more popular, so it deserved it more. But sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Let me silence that anyway. Yeah, Rick and Morty's still a really good show. Yeah, I'd recommend it. I think it went downhill afterwards, but I'm not caught up with it yet. But I have watched a good chunk of it to, at least judge those seasons. So that's why I put it in this category, just based off of those seasons. Okay, back to live action stuff. We've got Better Call Saul. Never watched it, but I might. No, I actually did watch the first one or two episodes. The last thing I saw, it was actually like a pretty like cool cliffhanger. I liked the cliffhanger that I saw. But yeah, I this is a for those of you who don't know, this is a prequel to Breaking Bad. So that's why I didn't feel compelled to watch anymore after what I watched because I kind of just felt like I already knew like these characters' stories like already like while I don't know their backstories, I knew how their stories end. So that's kind of why I didn't have much of an interest in this show. Not saying it's bad, because people say that this is better than Breaking Bad. The people who actually watch the show, and hey, for all I know, maybe it is. Maybe it is a better show. The only way I could see that, though, in my opinion, is if like this show actually goes past the events of Breaking Bad. Now that would be really interesting. You don't have to tell me if it actually does that or not. I would rather keep that left in the dark. But yeah, I'll probably get back into the show at some point or another. And the next two shows, actually the next three shows, well, no. The next two shows fit this category as well. We've got The Sopranos, as well as The Wire. So these are, Better Call Saul is from AMC, but these two shows, I believe The Wire is HBO Max. Well, HBO. I might be wrong about that, but The Sopranos is definitely HBO. I watched the first episode of The Sopranos. I thought it was pretty good. It was really entertaining. Tony Soprano is a very entertaining protagonist. Um, I couldn't really tell you why I didn't watch anymore because, like, from what I saw, it was a really good show. The Wire, don't really know much at all about it. Never watched a single episode. But I might watch it at some point. It's a very highly respected show. Yeah, that's all I got for these shows. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Where do y'all think I'm gonna put this show? Never watched it. Never will. Yeah, I will never be a brony. That ain't happening. That ain't happening, okay? I know I've got some very, childish looking shows in here. I mean, I put this show, or on High School Host Club, in the True Goat category. That's probably my most feminine taste show on here. Maybe not. There might be some more feminine shows than that I might put in this list. But no, My Little Pony, way too far outside of my demographic. Like, I don't care if 30-year-old men say that this show is it. I don't care. Because, yeah, it's too, it's made for little girls. Like little girls, I believe. So, no, I ain't watching that show. No way. Like, I ain't swallowing my pride on that one. No way. No, sir. Okay. Anyway, we've got another cartoon here. This is The Owl House. I finished the show, maybe a month or two ago. Yeah, I finished in April. So that was actually like 4 months ago. Um, yeah, I will put the show in. The ending was pretty good, so I'm gonna just put it in It's Goated for now. For now, that might change because I kind of had a similar thing with this show as I had with Cowboy Bebop, where I watched I was watching it consistently for a while, but then for whatever reason, I think it was because this season was on a hiatus or something. And then by the time it came back, I was already watching other shows. So it took me a really, really long time to get back into it. And I mean, that's not to, bash its quality or anything, but, I mean, when I got back into it, though, it was still pretty good. It was about as good as I remembered it, so, but I do need to rewatch it, because, I mean, for all I know, it might actually be more fitting to put it up here, maybe. But I'll need to rewatch it to make that call. It's a good show, good Disney Channel show. It's got some good twists and turns. Yeah, there was a really really big twist in the show actually. I actually really liked that twist. So it's a good show. It's also a pretty good show to watch around, spooky season, Halloween. It's about witches and stuff like that. So. Good show. Good show. I like it. Now, oh boy. Ooh boy. Man, oh man. Where do y'all think I'm about to put this show? Because I knows Attack on Titan is a true goats. True goats. I love this show. People back when if you can believe the show came out 10 years ago. like, yeah, because I'm pretty sure the first season came out way back in 2013, which still blows my mind. I can't believe the show is that old, but it is. It took them 4 years to make season 2. I don't remember the details as to why that was, but the point is that the final season is here. It's still finishing up, so we'll see about what they do with the ending. But so far, it's still just so highly recommend this show. This show is still just so good, man. The final season just really drove the nail in that this is one of the best anime ever made. Let me put it this way: if you watch the first season, because a lot of people watch the first season, right? And they just assume that this was just gonna be like The Walking Dead of anime, where it literally just relies on nothing but shock value, character deaths, and just, people assumed it was just gonna be a very repetitive process. But, no, let me tell you, whenever you think you know where the show is going, no, you don't. No, you do not, okay? This show goes in places you would not think. Like, and it really drives that home with the final season. It really, really drives that home. And I have the utmost respect for this show. It's a super well thought out show, just a super, super good show. Really, really, really good show. I mean, oh, and for what it's worth, by the way, yeah, I really loved the first season. I didn't even think the first season was overrated. I think people just like, two reasons. One, it was really popular at the time, and people gotta hate on stuff that's popular. And two, like I said earlier, people were saying it was just relying on shock value. But in my personal opinion, I thought the lore and just the way the story was going, I thought that was all just like very well done at the time. Even I would say, in my personal opinion, I would say season two was probably the weakest season. It was very fast paced and it was still very good. It was just that I feel like season two, the only problem with that season, and it was a big problem for me, was just that it brought up way more questions than answers, and the first season brought up a lot of questions, which I was cool with. I mean, it was only the first season, and the second season didn't really answer a lot of those questions, and it just brought up more questions. So that was why I wasn't too crazy about season two, but hey, if it wasn't for season two bringing up more questions, I wouldn't have read the manga. Because I was so into it. Like, I read the manga and, I was blown away by the manga. Without spoiling anything, I hope they do make some changes to the ending in the anime. Because the manga's ending left a little bit to be desired, to be perfectly honest. But even still, if the anime is like still stays 100% accurate to the manga, I still think it's 100% worth the watch. 100% recommended. Um, let's see. So yeah, Attack on Titan, amazing show still. Uh, let's see. I'll do these. I'll do two more. No. I'll leave it at The Office. The Office. It's goated. I would say it's definitely goated. Definitely goated. The reason why I don't put it in true GOAT category is because I can't ignore, the fact that seasons 8 and 9, they didn't even have Steve Carell. So that's kind of just, in my opinion, that's kind of just an immediate downgrade. Season 9 was still pretty good, though, although, see, the big problem with The Office is that, like, after a while, even though it still made me laugh, and this is like one of the two shows, this show and Impractical Jokers are the two shows that always would like consistently have me like laughing, legitimately laughing. Those are the two shows, my top two like comedy shows for sure. Granted, there's still a lot of comedies I need to watch, so but for now, those are my top two comedy shows: The Office and Impractical Jokers. Um, yeah, but anyways, as I was saying though, I feel like one problem with The Office is that after a while, it started relying a lot more like on slapstick and like really ridiculous humor. After a while, I noticed, and again, it still made me laugh, but like I really loved the cleverness of the earlier seasons, like the witty jokes, that kind of stuff, and it was like wittiness and cleverness, more with a hint of slapstick. You know what I mean? But I think in later seasons it kind of like started relying on it more. I love Andrew Bernard as a character, but like he is a very like physical actor, and like there were definitely like scenes where they relied on that like way too much. Very funny actor though, like he always got a laugh out of me. So I mean they chose the right character to do that with, but I definitely prefer like the wittiness and the cleverness over the slapstick in this show. Even though it still got a laugh out of me, but yeah, The Office is still goated, still goated. Again, this show gets a lot of haters because it's popular, but you know, whatever. But that's what I got so far. I will see you guys for the next part. Goodbye.